Hello, welcome to Jesus Camp 2013. Today we're going to learn about the Gospel of John, the fourth Gospel of the New Testament. Very important. Guys, Camp of 2013. Raise your hand if you know the difference between John and John the Baptist. Okay, see? Everybody thinks they're the same. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to tell you there's a big difference between John and John the Baptist. That's number one, because a lot of you guys here, 13, 15-year-olds, we all get confused. I did too, growing up. But the reason why I decided to talk about the Gospel of John is I'm going to show you how powerful, how mighty Jesus is. And what's the difference between this fourth Gospel and any other Gospel. Alright? The Gospel of John, chapter 1, says this. In the beginning was the world, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through Him, and without Him not anything made that was made. In Him was life, and life was the light of man. The light shines in darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. So what does that technically mean? That means He was here since day one. He was here since day one. Yes, in Genesis, it refers back to it. The fourth Gospel goes back to Genesis. It repeats itself. And what the fourth Gospel also talks about, besides in the beginning of the world, it talks about the difference between John the Baptist. John the Baptist was used to proclaim the gospel of God in the wilderness. Like, for example, how we are in the wilderness. You know, it's like, I could be used as John the Baptist. I'm telling you about the proclaim of God. You know, this is exactly how John the Baptist was. He was telling people about the proclaim of God and how he would baptize people. You know, the way we all get confused is we see John and John the Baptist. What you guys don't know is that John the Baptist was beheaded by King Herod. Now, how many of you guys knew that? Okay. Now, how many of you guys, how can a man that was beheaded write this fourth gospel? See? A lot of you guys didn't understand. Now, what we're going to learn is this. The reason why the fourth gospel is good for you guys to understand at this young age is because the miracles and what God has done to show how He's changed and touched so many people's lives. And how He can touch your lives tonight at the camp where we're located. You know, we're in San Antonio, Texas, in the middle of nowhere. If you're trying to run away, you'll probably get killed by a rattlesnake. So if you get killed, you might as well give your life to Christ. And I'm going to show you why. Now, raise your hand if you guys know about the Good Samaritan. Okay, a few of you guys know. Okay, that makes sense. That's not bad. A few guys know about the Good Samaritan, which is good. Now, raise your hand if you heard in the Gospel of John speak about the birth of Jesus. No, guys. No. That's only in Matthew's. You see? You guys see that you guys about to learn something new. Alright. First, we're going to start with the Good Samaritan. The story in the Good Samaritan that John tells, that no other gospel tells us, Jesus was walking on his way back to, I believe it was Nazareth. And he had to go through, they couldn't go through a certain, couldn't go through a certain city. And he couldn't talk about Jesus. He couldn't talk about the Father, about the gospel at a certain territory. So Jesus decides he was tired. He sends his disciples out, like right now, hey, go get something to eat in the cities. And as he sits there, he just sits there next to a well. And there was a woman. She was a Samaritan woman. And she came. And Jesus started talking to her. And the woman just kind of stopped and just asked her, what's this water you're drinking out of? And she says, oh, it's given by our great ancestors. Jacob, Joseph, and his kids drank out of this well. And he just goes, well, hold that thought. You know, the water that you're drinking, the water I could give you is everlasting. And the woman didn't understand what she means. And then the woman kind of she didn't know what was going on until Jesus started talking to her. And the woman, they say she was a prostitute. And Jesus told her about all her husbands that she's been with and the one she's with right now, how he's no good for her. And she stops and she just freaks out. She's like, a man just told me everything about myself. What's this going on? Who is this guy? And she runs and she tells her friends, her families. So everybody starts coming to the well. And that's when he started preaching the gospel. You know, it's stuff like that, guys. It's like you go somewhere and you run into somebody, you know, and they just start telling you everything about yourself. And they're speaking about God about you. And you're like, who is this guy? What's going on? Who is she? You know, it's like, and it's just like you just freak out for a minute. And it makes you really think, right? The Gospel of John makes you think. John spoke about all the miracles from the Samaritan woman. That's never talked about until you get to the Gospel of John. From Jesus healing the blind, bringing them on the Sabbath day. We're not supposed to be working, but with today's society, we have to work. From curing the blind, and how Jesus used everlasting water. Remember, water is used with the Samaritan woman. He puts mud in the blind man's eyes in the Gospel of John, and he tells him to wash it off with water. Jesus washed his disciples' feet with water. Turn water into wine. See, water is very powerful in the Gospel of John. Water can kill you. Now, you guys want to take a thought? How many of you guys can swim in the ocean with sharks? None of us can. You know why? Because you can't. You're not a great swimmer than a shark underwater. Water will kill you. So the Gospel of John is written so well, not just to the Jews, it's to everybody, so we can all understand, come as one. All of us. You know, before I close this out, I want to ask you guys, when you're thirsty, you want to drink water. Now, when your soul's thirsty, he'll give you the everlasting water. So campers, for 2013, Jesus Camp at San Antonio. I will see you guys again. We'll meet again. Remember, the everlasting water is all you need. And it's good for you.